Hi there, Steve Brossman here from Business Online TV, and today I've got an absolutely special guest from the Waterline Foundation, Julian Day. Welcome along.
Hi, great to be here. Thanks, Steve.
Now, let's start talking a little bit of history about you and how you got the title of the Beach Walker.
It's crazy, but it was about 13 years ago I decided to, over a weekend, just walk from Sydney down to Wollongong.
Decided
to go, yeah. So 2.5 days walking along the coast, right down through the national park and then down through all the beaches down to Wollongong itself. And got down there after 2.5 days and had a nice pub meal and got the train back. But that was the beginning of many walks.
Now, over a number of years now, you've actually walked every beach on the coast of New South Wales. Is that true?
Yeah, every possible beach. Each walk I do takes a fair bit of planning because you've got to actually work out, and certainly in remote areas, whether you can actually get on the beach if you can get off the other end. If you get off the beach at the other end, can you get over the headland and down onto the next beach? And of course, there's also the challenge of getting across bits of water. So over the years, I've had now probably as many as 20 plus lifts from either surf life saving clubs or volunteer rescue people across bits of water. And there's also a couple of rivers and quite a few minor creeks that I've actually either waded across or swum across as well.
Now, that could be interesting in North Queensland, wading across the creeks and avoiding the crocodiles. But you've turned all that into what is going to be possibly Australia's largest fundraising project, and it's called the Waterline Challenge.
Correct.
Can you give us the basics of that, and then we'll talk about how people out there can get involved?
Yeah, well, you know, when I did the walk from Coffs Harbour to Byron Bay, people were saying, well, look, you've nearly done the whole of the New South Wales coast. Are you going to keep on going around Australia? And I thought, well, how do we do the whole of Australia? So it's a crazy idea. So what we're going to do in the first weekend of May 2012 is to get the whole of Australia to go out and do their bit. So it'll happen simultaneously, but to either walk, run, cycle, canoe, even maybe push wheelchairs, you know, involve people with disabilities, but to basically do the whole of the coastline of Australia.
Over a weekend?
Over a weekend, yeah, in awesome. 48 hours, yeah.
Fantastic. As a side note, have you ever been called the Forrest Gump of Australia?
It has been referred to a couple of times, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now let's get back to the challenge itself. It's an enormous task, but you've already got a huge team working on it behind you.
Yeah, we've got about 30 people at the moment, which is great. At the end of the day, you know, you need a very broad spectrum of people with various different capabilities. Just the organisational part of it, you know, the operations side. State managers, you know, will eventually build a team nationally to as many as 300 regional controllers. So people that actually can actually work and actually know their own territory and engage with the local community, sanction the routes and make sure that people follow certain levels of safety and obviously prepared for the walks as well, which is great.
Now, you've shared with me before we got on camera some of the goals that you're hoping to achieve. Let the people know. Yeah,
we reckon we've actually stopped re-estimating, but we reckon we'll have well over 200,000 people involved. The waterline is not just restricted to the coast, it's also all the rivers, the lakes and the islands.
Great.
So we're also going to involve Lord Howe Island and finish with Christmas Island. And the 200,000 people involved, the minimum requirement is that everybody raises $200. And that's not a huge ask, but that means that $40 million will be raised for charity in one weekend. And the great thing is this is an umbrella event which allows people to actually choose where the money that they raise goes. So it goes to multiple charities.
And they can actually be doing the walk and raising money for their own community. To benefit their own community, which I think is a fantastic event. Now, you've already had great support from inland New South Wales, Dubbo in particular.
Yeah, Dubbo in particular. You know, the Deputy Mayor knows about it and said, look, I will get the whole of Dubbo involved. Absolutely fantastic. And just locally in Sydney, through some of the local councils, you know, they just see the value of Waterline Challenge and to get the community involved.
And you've also set up a section of your, I guess, management group that want to look at the environmental issues and impact and also educate the people along the way.
Absolutely. You know, the fact we'll have people around the whole of Australia in one weekend. We're already talking to organisations like CSIRO, potentially of actually doing a water testing kit to everybody. So test the water quality around Australia in one weekend. But we're looking at other aspects. Could be, you know, tidology, coastal ecology, taking pictures of beaches which are GPS positioned, so that we can do that every time we run Waterline Challenge, which will be every 2 years. So we can actually see maybe the change in sand dunes and things like that as well. So there's a whole range of other aspects, and we're looking maybe to get schools involved in those projects.
Look, it's a phenomenal initiative, and it's not just a fundraiser, it's not just a physical event. There are so many aspects to it. Now, if people want to get more information and want to get involved, can you give us the website, please? And we will have it down below.
Yeah, so it's Waterline Foundation, that's the organisation, Waterline Foundation, one word, .org.au, and you can go in there and register your interest to be involved either as a participant or a volunteer to help us run the event on a national basis. Look,
from one walk on the beach to Wollongong to being able to get a lot of Australia together to do the whole coastline on a 48-hour period, I think is a phenomenal achievement, and I do take my hat off to you. And I actually love the way that it is a multifaceted program, so many people can get involved for many different reasons. So I do encourage you, go to waterlinefoundation.org.au, see how you guys in your own community can get involved and follow everybody along. And Julian, thank you so much for doing what you're doing, but also sharing that story and experience with us.
Great, thanks Steve, and look forward to hearing from many people. Thank you.
I'm getting my sand shoes ready to go out and do my part of the walk as well. See you later.